our speakers on, it looks like. So I'm just going to quickly introduce the run of show and then hand it off to the mayor to get us started. So for today's event, first we'll hear from Mayor Levine Cava, followed by Lee Hefty, Durham Assistant Director, Chief Bay Officer Irela Begay, Chief Resilience Officer James Murley. Actually, I'm not sure if Jim is speaking, but he's on the call. And then Policy Director for the Mayor, Sean Mccracken. And then we'll take questions from the media and from the community if there's a time at the end as well. So now I'll hand it over to the mayor.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Greetings, everyone, and happy Earth Day. And what a beautiful Earth Day it is. I just got back from Crandon Park, where we did an event to clean up the beach and showcase our incredible, beautiful natural environment. And truly, it was a joy. It was a joy. So thanks for joining us on this momentous occasion. I want to give a special shout out to my fellow elected and community leaders who have been working so hard driving these efforts forward in our community. And not all of whom could join us on the call today, but we have two great leaders. I want to acknowledge Commissioner Rebecca Sosa and Clerk of the Courts Harvey Reuben. They were involved in these issues for years, long before most people in the community even knew what climate change meant. They were out there defending our natural treasures and fighting to get policies adopted to protect our community and all of our residents and visitors. You have been Commissioner and Clerk of the Court, two of our greatest promoters for climate education and awareness. Thank you so very, very much. So today is not any ordinary day. It is the 51st celebration of Earth Day. It all began April 22nd in 1970. I'm proud to say that as a high school student, I was there on day one, promoting the health of our planet and celebrating every year since. In Miami-Dade County, we know that climate change alarm bells are ringing loud and clear. We've seen coral reef die-offs, fish kills in Biscayne Bay, seagrass die-offs, sunny day flooding, an increase in extreme heat, and overflowing septic tanks. All of these are putting our environment at risk, polluting our waterways and our neighborhoods. And just yesterday, in a discussion with the Adrienne Arsht Rockefeller Center, we learned how we must act immediately to address climate change and keep our temperature in check, because 4 degrees of climate change will make our world uninsurable. In honor of 51st Annual Earth Day, Miami-Dade County is stepping up to the plate and taking bold action, along with the President and the Global Climate Change Summit that he's convening right now. Many of you who are watching this Zoomcast were actually with me at Crandon Park for the kickoff of our Earth Day events, which are happening all across the county. We did a little beach cleanup looking for microplastic and protecting our wildlife as well as our beaches. And now we're holding this press conference to officially announce 2 of the greatest environmental initiatives so far in my administration. We launch our Biscayne Bay report card and a new web tool that's interactive, easy to use, and the release of our ambitious new climate action strategy. It's only month 5 of my new administration, and we have already accomplished a great deal when it comes to protecting our environment. Biscayne Bay, we know, plays an incredibly fundamental role in the quality of life for Miami-Dade County residents and drives our economy. Our bay provides endless recreational opportunities and supports our local jobs and our tourism. So we know that these recent changes in the health of the bay, like the fish kill that occurred last year, led scientists to declare that the bay's ecology is reaching a tipping point, is truly in peril. Last year, as your new mayor, I released the first annual Biscayne Bay report card legislation I sponsored as a commissioner. And this was something that was long overdue, but so critical when we finally were able to produce it and share it with the public. It serves to provide us with an easy way to understand the status of the health and the ecology of Biscayne Bay and to localize the areas of greatest concern. So today, I am very pleased to announce the release of the latest updated version in a new, easy-to-use, interactive, web-based format. Maestro, please bring it up. Well, you'll hopefully see it very soon.
1 second.
Thank you, Manny. So I'll just say that this new format is going to make it even easier for the public and decision makers to access and interpret the latest information on the health of the Bay. Here we go. And you can find it at miamidade.gov/Biscayne Bay. I'm proud to share it with all of you today and on this call for the very first time. So along with the new updated report card, our Biscayne Bay website is full of other educational information, relevant reports, updates, and tips on the individual actions that you can all take as members of the public to help improve the health of Biscayne Bay. And again, the website is miamidade.gov/Biscayne Bay. It's a central, clear takeaway from the updated 2021 Biscayne Bay report card that the Bay continues to face enormous challenges. As a community, we must remain engaged and committed to protecting our Bay, and I encourage our community to access and share this new tool to help educate everyone on steps that we can take and what is at stake. So I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Lee Hefty, our RER Assistant Director for the Division of Environmental Resources Management, and he'll provide us with further details about the science and methodologies behind the data in the report. And followed by that, we will hear from Irela Bagay, our first ever Chief Bay Officer, and she'll provide comments related to the Bay's Lake to Climate strategy. So a very special thanks to the dedicated employees of RER Durham, to our information technology team, communications, and our Chief Bay Officer for shepherding this great project. You've all worked diligently to launch these web tools and in a very short amount of time. Thank you.
Good. I guess it's good afternoon at this point, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much. And thank you for your leadership on environmental issues, and in particular, your support of Biscayne Bay. And it was through your leadership that we actually can have this report card available today. And I'd like to introduce you to the new and improved Biscayne Bay report card, which is now an interactive tool that's available to everyone online. It's pretty exciting. There's a lot of information here. And as you look and see what's displayed in front of you now, this is the overall report for Biscayne Bay. And there's different tabs that you can go through to see specific results for a combined water quality score, various nutrient parameters, chlorophyll, submerged aquatic vegetation. All the way on the right-hand side, there's a tab you can get some additional maps, but I think we'll focus on this overarching score for Biscayne Bay. The way this was developed was county scientists actually used water quality data from all of the previous year, so all of 2020 data that's been summarized and compared with a target data quality from about 20 years ago. There was a period of time between 1996, 2004. That data was summarized to develop targets. And we picked, because water quality can vary throughout the year and from year to year, we picked some of the better water quality from that time frame as a target and goal for measuring our water quality today. And what you've got before you is a comparison that includes nutrients, chlorophyll, bacteria, submerged aquatic vegetation, sponge cover, all integrated into an easy to read stoplight score. This stuff can be pretty technical and complicated. So what we wanted to do was to make it easy for your average citizen to understand that the Bay is actually facing a lot of threats. What's happened over decades is we've grown as a community. We've grown in population. We've grown in area. We've become more sophisticated. We've over the years, we've had regulations to minimize dredging and filling activities, and we've tried to stop cutting down mangroves and preserve wetland habitat. At the same time, it seems like everything that we're doing on the landscape is having an effect on Biscayne Bay, despite all of those efforts to protect it. So what we need to do now is, using tools like this, understand the challenges that the Bay is facing. Largely what we're seeing is water quality is having a tremendous effect on Biscayne Bay. And the way it affects the Bay, it affects the clarity of the water. We're seeing elevated chlorophyll concentrations. Chlorophyll is a pigment that is found in marine algae, and it's a way of measuring the clarity of the water or the impact of nutrients going out into the water and causing algal blooms, or even just elevated levels of algae that might be minimizing light that would get to the bottom to help grow seagrass. We're also seeing a loss of seagrass habitat, especially in the northern regions of the county. Those areas of the county are, of Biscayne Bay, are somewhat confined and isolated because of the barrier islands of Miami Beach and the causeways that constructed, so they don't flush as well. And so everything that comes off the watershed, everything that we do in terms of septic tanks or fertilizers or our sanitary sewer system, and everything we do, blowing grass clippings into the street, can end up in a storm drain, decomposing, and they can all result in nutrients getting into Biscayne Bay. So it's important for us to have a tool like this as a message to every citizen to understand that what we do on the landscape is having an effect on Biscayne Bay, whether you can see the bay from your home or not. Everything that you do can go into the ground, go into the canal system, and flush out into Biscayne Bay. So this is a really exciting time for us to be able to have this tool available electronically, and to have all of this data. You can drill down, as I mentioned, to the different parameters that may not be interested. Not everybody might be interested in some of those, so that's why we've got the overarching score. So we're pretty excited about this, and we're hopeful that most people will go and use this, and will use it as a tool to raise awareness throughout the community about the need for us to pay greater attention to protect Biscayne Bay. I think with that, what I may do is introduce our Chief Bay Officer, Reuben Perez, who will talk a little bit more about Biscayne Bay and also talk about the connection Biscayne Bay has with climate change.
Thank you, Lee, and thank you, Madam Mayor. It's very exciting. What a great day when we are all focusing on Biscayne Bay. You know, education, public education is one of our biggest challenges. So this interactive report card will also be prominently featured on a new dedicated Biscayne Bay website, which is full of educational information, the relevant reports, updates, and tips on the individual actions that people can take to help improve the health of Biscayne Bay. As the mayor stated earlier, Biscayne Bay is Miami-Dade County's most vital quality of life asset, and it's the mainstay of our economy. There's no doubt that climate change is impacting the Bay's health. We saw that with the high heat levels that we experienced last summer that led to the tragic, unprecedented fish kill and algal blooms that followed. Sea level rise is also posing a high risk to our water quality, already impacting those low-lying areas that are still on septic. And you know, everything in our lives is interconnected when it comes to climate change. So if we begin to address those root causes, lower our carbon emissions by implementing our climate action strategy that we're so excited about, we will also be improving our lives and the health of Biscayne Bay, water quality, and make our community resilient for generations to come, which is what, you know, we're all dedicated to doing. The time is now, Earth Day 2021. With that, I am going to hand it over to, I believe, Sean Mccracken, who will provide additional details and roll out the climate action strategy.
Oh, I'm up. Oh, very good. Well, that was pretty wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Princess Warrior and Mr. Derm, as some of us call him, extraordinary. And I'm so grateful for the 130 plus people who are watching this Zoom session. Thank you so much for caring, for being at the forefront of being our ambassadors to make sure that we get this right. So let me just say as well, in case you did not know, that Biscayne Bay is also a carbon sink. And what that means is we need to have healthy vegetation in the bay to absorb carbon. So just like trees on the land absorb carbon, so does the vegetation underwater. So another key reason why we need to have a healthy bay, underscored by the fact that we're also releasing today our climate action strategy. What a great day it is. So we're at a pivotal moment for avoiding devastating climate impacts. We all know that. That's why we're on the call. Our county stands ready to roll up our sleeves and to partner and to collaborate with all of those who are engaged through other governments, through business, the private sector, academia. We need all of our residents and all of our partners to be with us to reimagine and build a more resilient society. definitely a cornerstone of my administration. And we are going to strive to live in harmony with our natural environment and not take these things for granted. And we're going to do it in a way that will build economic opportunity, because there are definitely opportunities here as well. And also to create social justice in the process, to be equitable in the way that we roll out these actions. We have a very big stake in national and international commitments to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we're aware that to preserve and protect this little piece of paradise that we call home, will require us to take some dramatic action immediately. Our goals are very ambitious. We've set a short-term goal of cutting emissions in half by 2030 countywide, and a longer-term goal of becoming net zero as a community, net zero carbon by 2050. So we're thrilled to see that these goals have been reinforced by President Biden at the federal level, and he announced at his Earth Day Summit that the U.S. will cut U.S. fossil fuel emissions by 52% by 2030. That is incredibly important, good news. These goals will require our steadfast commitment. These are not easy, and it will require a new level of coordinated teamwork as well. With all of our partners, we need to move past business as usual, and our Resilient 305 that we showcased just not that long ago, and we celebrated its anniversary shortly after I came into office, serves as our rock solid foundation of our commitment for this collaboration across our 34 cities and our sister agencies. We know that some of the biggest sources of these emissions are from transportation, but also from buildings and waste. So the strategy that we are launching today is focusing on these three key areas. We can reduce our impact from transportation by going electric. Electric vehicles are not only the best option for our future, but it's also where we need to be expanding our efforts right now. So we're completing a plan to convert the county's entire fleet to electric. We're also identifying the best locations to install charging stations so our community can transition to electric as well. And when it comes to reducing our emissions from buildings, the second biggest producer, the strategy aims to go solar in a big way over the next 10 years. And we want to make sure that our buildings are much more energy efficient and develop in a smart way that is close to our transportation system. So transit-oriented development and reduced carbon footprints from our buildings through our Building Efficiency 305 program. Energy efficiency, solar power, and walkable mixed-use developments can all help us cut our emissions and create good jobs for the future as we make this transition. So it is good for saving money. It's good for creating jobs. It's good for reducing respiratory illness like asthma. It's just a win-win-win for all of us. And most importantly, we want this strategy to benefit everyone in our community. So that means we have to prioritize climate actions that address structural racism and help reduce inequities in income, health, housing, transportation, and access to energy. It's all interrelated. It's all about resilience. So building on the success of our Thrive 305 public engagement work, which we conducted a survey in February, 27,000 fully completed, and we finished our Civic Week this past Monday. We're going to continue to get feedback from everyone in our community in order to make this strategy even better. So stay tuned in May and June for more workshops and meetings where you can share your ideas and feedback, and we'll be providing virtual ways to participate as well for those that can participate that way, making it easy and safe. So I'd like to introduce to you my right-hand man, truly, that is Policy Director Sean Mccracken. He's been with me since I got on the County Commission in 2014. He's been working with me for so many years on these issues and truly has been my partner in collaborating to get it done. He's truly passionate about achieving our goals for climate resilient future. Special thanks to our Chief Resilience Officer, Jim Murley. He is the man. And I worked hard to get that position established. So thank you, Jim, so much for ably stepping into that role and serving for us. You've dedicated your career and culminated a lifetime of of experience and expertise in diligently helping to make sure that we complete our greenhouse gas inventory. And you have been at the forefront of making sure we have this strong climate action strategy. So thank you so very much, Jim. So now I'm going to hand it over to Sean for more details about the climate action strategy. Take it away, Sean.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think you covered it all, so I'm done. So we do have a document to present. Manny, if you could bring that up. So there's we also are launching a new website for the climate action strategy, and accompanying that is a printed PDF version of that. So you can go to miami-dade.gov climate action strategy to take a look at the website and download the document. We're all very excited about the launch of this strategy, and I have to sincerely thank the hardworking, dedicated team of professionals in our Office of Resilience for the tremendous work they put in over a very short few months to pull this plan together. And thank you to many of the county departments that have contributed their ideas to this draft. The mayor urged our departments to be bold and creative in getting to zero through actions that the county government can make, but also come up with ways that we can work on with our residents and businesses to reduce our carbon footprint countywide as we race to zero. And man, if you could go to page 6. So no plan like this gets very far without active participation from our community. This project can be considered another chapter, as the mayor mentioned, in the mayor's Thrive 305 community engagement effort. And to be clear, this is a draft document, not the final product. It won't be final until we hear from all corners of our county and incorporate that feedback into it. Over the next 2 months, we'll be hosting workshops and meetings so we can get input from as many people as possible. And as with everything we embark on in Mayor Levine Cava's administration, equity is central to this plan. Ideas from our residents and business community will be key in identifying opportunities to close the gap in our forecast if we are to reach our targets. I say we have a gap because we do, in part because over the last 10 years, our emissions have gone in the wrong direction. And as we generated more emissions, even at a per capita level. So we must redouble our efforts and reverse that trend. Manny, if you could go to page 9. So on this page, we show both the trends. Going up is not good for both the community scale emissions and the per capita emissions. As the mayor mentioned, the majority of our carbon emissions come from 3 main sources: energy and buildings, transportation and land use, and water and waste. We've outlined 7 approaches across these 3 areas that will help us reach our goal. In addition, we've outlined specific measurable targets and bold actions for each approach. Let's take a look at the buildings and energy section, which is on page 14. So we can get almost halfway to our goal by making our existing buildings more efficient and constructing new buildings that are ultra low energy. Next week, the mayor will launch our building efficiency partnership called the BE 305 Challenge. The operators of over 50 major buildings in the county have signed up to compete to reduce their energy and water use. It's going to be fun to see how that goes. Even though we're in a rapidly growing community, the greatest opportunity to improve our built environment's energy performance is by investing improvements in the efficiency of our existing building stock. We also want to focus on opportunities to help our low and moderate income residents. Deep retrofits will save money for those who need it most, but will also reduce asthma rates and other illnesses while creating local, mostly blue collar jobs. If we could go to page 18. As the mayor stated, we want to dramatically increase solar throughout Miami-Dade. This plan sets an ambitious goal to get more than 800 megawatts from the sun over the next 10 years. If we jump to page 24, land use and transportation accounts for 55% of our climate emissions, so we have a great opportunity here to innovate. Fortunately, the Board of County Commissioners and the Transportation Planning Organization have already set our county on the right course through the adoption of the SMART plan and to prioritize first and last mile non-motorized solutions. Policies establishing mixed-use transit-oriented developments and complete streets that incorporate shade trees and safe bicycle and pedestrian connections will go a long way to cutting unnecessary automobile trips as well. But for those of us still in autos, we need to speed the conversion, as the mayor said, to electric vehicles. The market is rapidly transitioning to electric cars and trucks, and the county will again lead the way, both by migrating to battery electric buses starting this year, including the specialized buses that will serve our BRT systems, and starting the conversion of our light fleet to EVs. Transit ridership is already nearly back to pre-COVID levels, so with the anticipated rollout of the Better Bus Network as a foundation and the county's commitment to building out the SMART plan, we may expect to make a significant dent in our carbon emissions over the next decade. The preservation and restoration of our wild places, the incorporation of trees into our urban environment, the regrowth of the seagrass meadows in Biscayne Bay are all going to be critically important as carbon sinks and will play an increasingly important role in our climate response, both as a mitigation strategy and in our response to sea level rise. Now onto the last slide, water and waste. That's on page 34. So nearly half of the emissions from our county operations come from water and waste. So this presents us with a golden opportunity for the county government to dramatically cut our carbon emissions. On page 36, we see a solid waste truck that points out that we generate energy from our garbage. So Miami-Dade Solid Waste Department's already working hard to brainstorm how they could power our collection fleet by converting to electric vehicles and using the energy generated by our waste energy plant to power them. On page 38, our water and sewer department is leading the way and has committed to cutting its energy use by 30% by 2030 and is already collaborating with our solid waste department on opportunities to harvest methane from our landfills. They're also actively working on several promising new pilot studies to reduce biosolids waste, including an exciting study that may yield hydrogen fuel while reducing sewage sludge. This was a quick overview of the draft report, again, stressing that it's a draft and we're very eager to get everybody's feedback. We look forward to these conversations ahead as we develop our final plan together. Happy Earth Day to everyone. I'm wearing my turtle tie. I know you can't see it from here, but it's my Earth Day garb. And I'll pitch it back to Rachel for questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Sean. We have time for questions now from media members of the community. Just please put your hand up in the Zoom and then we'll call on you if you have a question. So I think first up, we have a question from Luis Rodriguez. If you could please unmute.
I apologize. Hello, everyone. This was an accident. I do have a question that I'm still writing it. So I will raise my hands again in a minute, okay? I apologize. Okay.
No problem. That sounds good. We have questions from folks in the community. I'm just going to quickly make sure we get the Herald reporter's question who's on address, and then we'll come back to the other folks waiting. So Alex Harris has a question. If you can please unmute Alex.
Hi there, good afternoon. What kind of collaboration has the county done with Florida Power and Light about how you can meet these goals with your energy blend moving forward?
Sean, do you want to start?
Sure. The county was an early subscriber to the Solar Together program, and we're in conversations now to see how we can continue that partnership. That essentially is a subscription service to power plants that Florida Power and Light is in the process of building or scheduling. That'll be one major method. We're already also talking to them about their Evolution electric vehicle charging network. And we're looking at all sorts of opportunities to partner to see how we can cut the consumption in our buildings and expand our electric vehicle fleet quickly and in a way that works for the build out of the utilities needs as well. They've also been a pivotal partner in our recent announcement regarding shore power at Port Miami.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Sean. Next up, we have a question from Juan Napoles.
Hello, everybody hear me? Hello?
More or less, Juan. Give it a try.
Let me take it off a speaker. Is it better now?
Yes.
So this is specifically for the mayor. It's a little bit, not up on topic, but when Black Lives Matter came to Miami, I saw that you had kneeled for them. So my question is, how are we supposed to take you serious when you kneel down for a terrorist group that literally burned cars in Miami and our own mall? And I'm talking about the Aventura Mall.
We're going to skip ahead because we're going to take questions about the topic. that we're here to talk about today. So please, if you have questions that are related to the announcements today, we have time for a few more folks. So Joyce Nelson is next.
Now you can hear me, right?
We hear you.
Hi, thank you for doing this. I just, another Zoom meeting about plastics and pollution. So I feel like I'm now an expert on this. But when is the county going to ban plastic bags and straws, etc.? I mean, we have to stop this. Thank you.
Joyce, thank you for your question. And as commissioner, I tried to bring legislation to look first at our policies of procurement within the county. I met opposition moving even that forward. And we do have preemptions from the state legislature about, for example, banning plastic bags. So as the mayor, I do not any longer propose or vote on legislation, but I am hopeful that my colleagues will see the wisdom of moving forward with a plastic procurement policy for county procurement and county contracting that will take into consideration the proliferation of dangerous plastic waste in our environment. I'm with you 100%. And we also need to have a legislature that will not preempt us when it comes to making good decisions that protect our local environment. Miami Beach passed their laws before the preemption went into effect. Coral Gables passed theirs in the middle of the preemption and somehow has managed to, Sean, if you could give a little update on that, I would appreciate it.
The plastic bag preemption, it's still in place. I think there's annually been an effort to repeal it, but it generally doesn't even get a hearing in Tallahassee.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead, please, Zarela.
We have a whole section on the Biscayne Bay Task Force report that addresses marine debris. And there are some things we can do, outside of these preemptions locally that we're going to be looking into. So stay tuned, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yarela. That's why we have a Chief Bay Officer. Thank you.
Great. We have a question next from Jeanette Ruiz.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. My question is for Irela. You had mentioned a dedicated Biscayne Bay website, and I was wondering if that's live yet.
It sure is. It's where you can find the, actually the report card is prominently featured on that. So I believe we don't have a chat option, but it is, let me find it.
Isn't it just Miami-Dade?
Yeah, yeah, I have it here. It's miamidade.gov/Biscayne Bay.
Great, that was easy. Next, Olivia Collins has a question.
Hi, thank you so much for today's presentation. Sean talked about increasing tree canopy as part of the overall strategy, and I was wondering if there were any efforts when you plan on doing that to focus on the areas that have the least tree canopy rather than the neighborhoods that already have a lot of heavy investment.
Sean, can you address our tree plan?
I don't have specifics on exactly what's being targeted at the moment. We do have a Million Trees Miami program that does neighborhood tree plantings, and we do focus on trying to build our tree canopy along our roadways as well. But that's certainly one of the pieces of feedback that we would love in the draft report, is that sort of technical detail about where you would like to see us focus first. And it absolutely makes sense to focus on those areas with the lowest tree canopy.
And let's also see if Lee Hefty would like to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, if I could also point out, as part of our Adopt a Tree program, we've been giving away trees for many years. I think at this point, we're over 200,000 trees we've given away since the inception of our program. Obviously, COVID disrupted our ability to do our typical events where we attract many people to come and collect them. But we've been working with schools and other community groups to get trees out available for people. And we're still working to make trees available for people that want to plant them, two free trees per year per residential property. So we're working, and also with Neat Streets, getting trees out there. So we agree canopy is really important. It helps cool our homes, our properties, provides carbon sequestration. So we're doing our part to try and make Dade County green as well as blue in the Bay.
I can't believe I forgot Adopt a Tree. Thank you, Lee.
Yes, we worked hard to make sure to have Adopt a Tree events in our district when I was commissioner. Very important.
We have a question actually that was emailed in, so I'm going to just quickly pivot to that question from Diego Lopez. Can you please talk about the funding for these conversions, which I imagine is a question about funding for septic conversions?
Yes, so this is the topic of the hour. We're busily working on our plans to utilize local, state, federal dollars. And it's a really complex formula that we're working on, but we are grateful. The state, for example, is creating, the exact amount hasn't been finally voted, but a competitive grant pool we'll apply for, and we'll use our American Rescue Plan dollars as a match. So that will allow us to maximize the impact of that money. We've also put in some projects to our congressional delegation to prioritize septic to sewer. And we're also going to be able to utilize some of our existing infrastructure dollars. I don't know if anybody wants to speak to that. Irela, go ahead.
I'll just add to that, that thanks to you, Madam Mayor, you released the plan of action that really identified where we can start first. So I just want folks to know that this is not something it is a very long-term approach, but we're taking it in phases and really starting in those low-lying areas that I mentioned earlier in my comments. And we also want to work with our residents because there is a personal financing issue that people will have to invest also in improving the health of Biscayne Bay. And so, we're looking at it from both sides, from the public financing perspective, and also how do we help our residents afford that connection? So yeah, lots of work.
Yes, and Pinecrest, for example, is looking at creating a special taxing district and the details of which we'll be sharing soon. And it may be something that other municipalities may want to utilize for areas like that. The action plan, Irela, can we post that on the Biscayne Bay site as well? If it's not already there, that would be good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I could add also, DEP has also stepped forward with providing a grant to the county up to $10 million. And part of that includes some initial septic to sewer conversions. And so as Irela said, and as the mayor said, this isn't something that's done overnight. It will take some time to get to everything, but we do want to get started. And so we do have some initial action on it, which is kind of exciting.
Great. Next, we have a question from John Paul Mejia.
Hi, everyone. Wow, this is really exciting, and I have loads of questions, but I'll get to one, maybe go for seconds if time allows later. But yeah, the beautiful thing about climate action is that it's a whole systems thing, and we can reroute power in our communities. And one thing that has me worried is the preemption bills at the state level right now. And all of these plans sound really exciting and things we can build off of, but I'm worried that if this bill passes, some of these things might go to waste. So what can we do if this bill passes? What does it mean for Miami-Dade County and these plans if this bill passes?
Okay, thank you for the question. I'm here consulting with our Chief Resilience Officer. It's not done till it's done, but we're not prohibited from doing these infrastructure projects. Other things are certainly being preempted. Which preemption do you think is most relevant, Jim? Here, he's coming around the corner here. Okay.
Well, as we read the statutes, they're limiting local government's ability to prohibit the use of as a fuel for a particular activity.
Yeah.
And that's something that generally is the decision of the Public Service Commission and the entities that are charged with that service. But what's in our plan doesn't really address that. It goes to, you know, renewing and conservation, efficiency, solar. I mean, those are additional sources of power that are added to the mix. And of course, we're going to encourage Florida Power Light to continue the projection they're on is to replace carbon fuels with solar as quickly as possible.
Right. So we're not preventing gas stations or the like. We're simply saying, here's a better way.
And if I could add, Madam Mayor, a lot of this has to do with personal decisions. You know, the easier it is to drive an electric car, I happen to drive one, I've done it for 4 years. They're wonderful cars. I'm a big advocate of it. And so I think, you know, whether it's, you know, plastic, disposable, you can make personal decisions about what you buy. When it comes to energy efficiency, everybody loves to save money. So reducing your fuel consumption is good for your pocketbook. And when you can convert to some of these renewable energies, it actually helps the planet. So it doesn't all have to be mandated. You can make decisions personally to get us there as well.
Yeah, and the market is definitely helping and moving and making things more affordable and accessible. I also drive electric, as does Sean. So just saying, we do put our money where our mouths are.
And next, we're going to come back to Luis, who I think has his question ready now.
And welcome to Luis, who's our partner, now living in Brazil, but his heart's still in Biscayne Bay. And we're working on a sister agreement with the Bay, Bahia do Rio from Niterói.
Very good. Well, it's very good detailed information, Mayor Calvo. Well, first of all, I'd like to first to congratulate all of you for these amazing efforts. You know, it makes me extremely happy. These are great news for our county, for our residents, and for our planet as well. And it's taking Miami-Dade to a completely new level, you know, a major level of leadership. So it's very exciting to hear this. I have two brief questions. One, someone has already briefly mentioned, which is, as a commissioner, you had launched an effort to revisit the Green Print program and guide the procurement department to explore banning single-use plastics from Miami-Dade County owned properties, events, and public spaces. I'm not talking about the whole county. So I understand that you're no longer able to push forward legislation, but is there any possibility for you to relaunch this effort through the commissioners? That's question one. And the question two, where are we at in terms of obtaining funds or applying for funds, federal funds for efforts to restore Biscayne Bay?
I'll answer as to the second, and Sean and others, if you could answer as to the first. We fully expect to utilize federal funds. It is our intention, our hope. We've submitted some requests to congressional members for what looks like will be earmarks, but as well, we're waiting for the passage of the federal infrastructure bill and hopeful that we can draw on those dollars as well. And for all of it, a match is useful. So, you know, we need to put up also. So Sean, if you could go ahead and add to the other question.
The question was on single use. Okay, yeah, so we are looking at opportunities for, the county has had a long tradition of looking at environmentally preferable products to purchase. So we've been having discussions already with our procurement division to see how we might be able to prioritize and eliminate single-use plastics wherever feasible in the county's purchases. We'll go from there. I mean, there was an very interesting report recently about work that FIU is doing on microplastics in Biscayne Bay. And it's rather concerning that we're finding it in densities high enough that it can mimic plankton.
Next up is Reuben Perez, if you can please unmute.
Hi, Reuben Perez here. Thank you very much. Very exciting news and webinar so far today. Question about your building and energy as far as your climate action strategy. I'm a realtor with a green designation, so I try to promote solar for homeowners and energy efficient windows and doors, things like that. Any ideas or to focus on giving incentives to homeowners to go solar if they do, or to upgrade their homes, something, some options other than white green or something through this action strategy. Go ahead.
Well, Sean, if you could talk about the SELF program a little bit as part of our response.
Okay. There is a program that we're working to partner with called the Solar and Energy Loan Fund. They're CDFI, if you're familiar with that term. They basically provide non-collateralized loans. They're generally of smaller amounts, but they're more accessible and easier to tap into than your typical PACE program, but they operate similar to that, which allow you to do some home upgrades to your, to get more energy efficient appliances, or to do, weatherize your home, to add solar, all of those things for essentially a lower interest rate. We're looking to bring SELF to Miami-Dade County. They currently operate in about 11 jurisdictions in Florida, but not that much here yet. So we're looking to change that.
If I may add, Madam Mayor, as many of you know, I work very closely with the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, and I've always feel that, the business community is our partner in government, and the Banking and Finance Committee and the Resilience Committee at the Chamber, we're working together to look at how our local banks can be part of the solution and provide our homeowners with incentivized loan options that could, create a green, blue type loan products that can help not just with solar, but can help with septic to sewer conversions, can help with a number of things, flood proofing, seawalls, a number of things that we're going to have to invest in as property owners.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Mayor, did you want to speak to your work with the Florida Sun and our solar co-ops as part of that?
Well, that sounds like a great idea. Okay, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I know it's a program near and dear to you. Basically, we just recently launched, when I say we, say the Florida Sun just recently launched in partnership with Miami-Dade, another round of solar cooperatives. So you can seek out the Florida Sun chapter in Miami and you can learn a lot more about solar and how you can have it installed on your home. They also do like bulk purchasing and they do like collaborative purchasing arrangements so that you can essentially theoretically lower the price of solar, but at least streamline the process and learn from each other. It's a really fascinating program.
Talk about the permitting process and how we work to make that more available and
yes. So we worked, the county, when the mayor was a commissioner, pushed for the county to improve our solar permitting process through a project that was essentially a partnership with the Department of Energy at the federal level called SolSmart. And we are now a SolSmart Gold rated community, which means that we're one of the easiest places to get solar permitting in the country.
Great. Next is Clive Walker. I think you're unmuted now if you're still there, Clive. Okay, we'll skip because we have many more questions in the queue. So we'll
okay, I just did.
We hear you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and good afternoon, Mayor, and everyone that's participating in the Earth Day launch of your program. I'm really happy to be able to join your program and see the effort you're making. I'm Clive Walker with Trandasol in Fort Lauderdale, and just to give you a brief synopsis of what I do, I'm the creator for the 8-dimensional economic recovery plan for the United States. And I have met with Mr. Murley on a couple of occasions, and since 2012, and have presented to him quite a number of bit of information on the sustainable and resilient solutions for rebuilding our communities to last for generations. And
so,
that
I could just interrupt for a second. We definitely want to learn about your opportunity, and Jim is indicating that he is familiar. So if you have a question, that would be great, but we don't have much time. So let's stay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to give you an idea, background on who I am. But the question is, I have presented the information to your city, and I would love to follow up with you, Mayor and Mr. Murley. I've made some effort to do that, but that has not been successful. As far as a representative of you, did request a meeting with you, Mayor, to have to present the information to you. So my question is, do you collaborate with companies such as mine, or innovators such as I am, to bring solutions to Miami-Dade? And if so, when will I be able to meet with you to present for you and the city of Miami-Dade the information for long-term sustainability and resilience?
Thank you, Clive. So I'm hearing from Jim that he's familiar. I am not familiar, so he'll have a chance to brief me about it. And of course, there's always a way to present unsolicited bids to the county, and then something then that we are interested in doing. We can move forward. So we'll definitely explore. Thank you so much for bringing it to my attention.
I think we have time for just a couple more questions because we're running toward the end. So Matt G is next in the queue. If you're still there, Matt. Okay, we'll go ahead and skip to Marcos Pena. Marcos, are you there? You might have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, they're on mute.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
Hi, my name is Marcos Pena. I just had a brief comment and a question on preemption. I believe it's still we the people, and we still control what we do in our towns. And I understand the state has preempted us on a number of issues, but is it not possible that we bring it up to vote by actually registering say if we want to get rid of plastic in our town, and then we raise, I believe, 10%. We get signatures of 10% of our population, and we can actually get on the ballot to vote. Is that a way to overcome the preemption from the state? Are you familiar with that at all?
Well, I'm going to, as the resident attorney, not giving legal advice, but I will say that it is always possible to have a citizen initiative that would override legislation, but it would have to be statewide, and it's a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of money. It couldn't be generally all preemptions. It would have to be on a particular item. So it's unfortunately really all about elections have consequences. So we're working hard on each of these preemptions, and some of them are overturned by the court. Some have even been vetoed by the governor. So we are going to continue to fight preemptions and make sure we can do our very best to do what needs to be done here in Miami-Dade County.
Thank you, Mayor. So I know there are a lot more questions, but we're unfortunately out of time. So I wanted to let everyone know that we have an email address that you can use to submit any questions that we weren't able to get to, resilience@miamidade.gov. So please feel free to send in any further questions and the team will be happy to get back to you. And Mayor, did you want to share any closing thoughts to wrap us up?
Yeah, I just want to say that I became mayor to deal with these issues. And I am very, very honored to be serving and very proud of the incredible work of our great team. As you can see here, all of them expert, dedicated, passionate to getting it done, and to the extraordinary involvement of our community in these issues. Our recent Thrive 305 survey revealed that Miami-Dade County residents across the board know we have a problem. So we're past that. We've got general acknowledgement. We're not in denial. Now comes building the public will to take the very big actions that are needed to address what we must address. And of course, we're just one community in a global situation, but there is so much that we can do at home to protect our people, our assets, our environment, as well as to contribute to solving the world's problems. And thank you so much to everyone who's on this call, because I know you all care about that and you all are going to do everything in your powers to get it done. Thank you so much and good afternoon. Happy Earth Day.